Recording in progress.
Share, here we go. Okay, I'm still getting used to this, so let me jump onto chat. Hello. And hopefully Corey can let me know in chat if people are hearing me okay and whether they're seeing my screen. Because, yeah, I believe so. Yes, great, excellent. Okay, well, we'll get started then. Sorry for the little bit late start. We will get presentation in presentation mode any moment now. We can stop. Okay, slideshow. Here we go. Okay, welcome to the Global Virtual Event. Uh, My name is Eric Nielsen, and I'm here to talk about Advantage, the VCP Home Lab License Program. I work at Broadcom. I've been in the communities space for probably 20 years at Broadcom. I'm coming up to my 20-year anniversary next year. And I run the community and influencer teams at Broadcom. But I also currently run the code program, and we do home lab stuff as well. So I'm here to talk about the VCP Home Lab License Program. Hopefully by the end of this, we'll get you through everything you would need to know to get your VCF 9 license keys, but I'll talk a little bit about the whole program at the same time. So first thing, what is the Advantage Home Lab License Program? Like what does that look like? And probably many of you already know what it is. And so I'll do a little bit brief summary of what it is for people that are new here. But really what I want to get to you is give you what we're releasing at the end of this month. We're hoping by the end of this month, we're doing final testing on the VCF 9 license enablement with tokens. That's what the core of this session will be. But I will talk about the program in general and then how you get moving in the program and how to get your VCF 5.x licenses, how to get your 9. Licenses. So I'll go through all of that. So what can you get for free? I mean, the reality is the VCF license is a $20,000, 128 core license program, and you can, if you join VMUG Advantage, pass your VCP certifications, you can get that 128 core license to use in your home lab environment. So what do you get? You can get full VCF license, 128 core, plus vDefend 128 core, plus ALB 12 tokens. It's a 3-year license program. As long as you're a valid VMUG Advantage member, you can get it for 3 years. You can get VCF 9.x download tokens to get your bits with license keys or license enablement embedded in the VCF 9 download. And you can get VCF 5.x license keys. And those are valid for 3 years. You actually get 1 year at a time, and you have to do a renewal at the end of every year, a short little quiz that you have to take. It requires VMUG Advantage throughout the 3 years. You have to have a VCP admin architecture certification. You only have to certify once over those course 3 years, and then the second and third year, I'll show you how you can just do a short renewal exam to get your second and third year. And that's for full VCF 128 core. If you just want VCR standard and you don't want to take your VCP exam, you can take the VVF admin architecture exam, either one, and get your certification that way. You get a vSphere standard core license, 9.x download token, or 8.x license key, right? So 1 year. If you do 3 year, you get a 32 core license, which is different than 128 core. So just understand that. Requires VVF certification and a yearly renewal. What is this for? Personal use license. So I work on backline support. If you get trouble, VMUG talks to me and I try to debug what your problems are. I get a lot of questions on this, so thought I would just share for your own education. It's for your own education. It's a personal use license. That's what Broadcom calls it. Not for test accounts, not for POCs, not for future feature research in your company, not for training centers, probably not for any work. That's what personal use means. Now, there is an exception. If you're doing personal lab, your own personal lab to learn about the features for yourself, not for your company, not to look at feature research, but in fact just want to learn, and your home lab happens to be at your desk at work or in a rack at work, then be smart about that. I think that's an okay use. But basically, I've had a lot of people ask, like, is it okay if I use this for XYZ? If you have to ask, it's probably not. It's most likely no, right? And I think 99.9% of the times people have asked, I've always just responded, nope, that's not it. It's not for corporate use of any kind. It's for your home lab for you to learn and to study and to experiment, right? So that's important for the caveat. I get a lot of questions on that, so I thought I'd just put that right up front. It will not be added to your Broadcom entitlements. So that's another thing that people come in. When they get their VCP, they go to the support and they go into where they would normally see their entitlements, and they're confused because there's no entitlements. We're not actually giving you your license through your corporate site ID, your corporate account. We are actually using your certification email address and your certification ID, and Alpine is part of a vendor that helps do that certification. And we are actually using Alpine and enabling you to get your license as an Alpine contractor, right? Or as an Alpine person that went through and purchased a service from Alpine, which was your certification. So you will actually be using the Alpine site ID to get your licenses, so that we didn't have to create 12,000 new corporate IDs for everyone that came through the Advantage program. We used the testing service as a way to deliver that, and you pass your tests, so you are then enabled to get your licenses. So your certification email you use during the certification process is the email that you'll use. You might have a different customer email address, but your certification email address is the one that we're using. So if you logged in and signed up for your certification and you used a private email address, that's the one that you'll be using when you log into the Alpine certification portal to get your license. That email address can be, I believe, a Gmail address. VMUG supports external email addresses, and that your VMUG Advantage email address must match your certification email address, which could be different than your Broadcom support email address. So understand the differences. The certification email address is the email address you used when you took your certification. That must match your VMUG address, because when you log in to get your licenses, it requires you to log in like you would to the certification portal, and it then checks with VMUG and says, hey, do these guys have Advantage? Here's their email address. If those email addresses don't match, obviously you're not going to see licenses. So here's what I'm going to cover today: 7 steps to get your home lab licenses. I'll probably go through the first 3 very quickly because you probably already know how to do this. The next ones are receive your certificates through the Alpine portal, request your licenses, get your download bits or VCF 9 tokens, and after a year, renew your certification. Those are things that are new that no one has done because we haven't released it. We're planning on releasing all of this at the end of the year. So VMware certification and level up. So there are different certifications you can take. You can be a VCP, VCF architect. You can be a VCF VVF administrator, VCP VCF administrator, VCP VVF support. And I don't believe the support ones qualify, so I probably should have removed those from the slides. I didn't realize those were there. You either have to be a VCP VVF or VCP VCF or architect. Those are the ones that qualify for these licenses. And again, you get 128 core for 3 years if you're VMUG Advantage. You get the extra firewall and ATP and the Avi load balancer. If you haven't purchased your VMUG Advantage, you only get 1 year of vSphere Standard. You don't even get to renew at the end of the year if you don't have your VMUG Advantage. So we are encouraging everyone to be part of the community, to get your VMUG Advantage, and then run your home lab licenses. So get certified. These are the ones that I just talked about. I won't spend a lot of time here. VCP, VCF, VCP, VCF architect versus admin, and VVF admin or basically VVF admin. So those are the ones you get. Admin, if you buy Advantage, you get larger cores and 3 years. If you don't buy Advantage, just 32 cores for 1 year. Buy Advantage, here's what you need to do. Upgrade your membership. We encourage you. And the only thing I would say about VMUG is that a significant portion of their funding comes from user-funded activities, and Advantage is the largest one of that. It can end up being maybe a third of all of VMUG revenue coming in. So we are an external community organization, or VMUG is, and it relies on partner funding, user funding, and a little bit of Broadcom funding. And so they are independent. They do try to get funding independently so that they can be operated independently as an org. So support them, get Advantage, and then get the licenses. So certification, this is where I talk about how to get your certification. Just go to the certification URL, support education VMware certification, and you can register for an exam. You have to log in here. This is where your email address must match. If you somehow have 2 different email addresses, you have to make sure your certification email address is the one that you want to match with VMUG. You can send VMUG a request to change it. They are very quick and they change it relatively painless. So if you do have a certification email address, it's easier to have Advantage change your email address to that one. But you can email support@broadcom.com and ask them to change your certification email address, right? And they can do that for you. If you have them change your generic support email address with your site ID, that's different. And so you have to make sure you let them know you want to change your certification email address. So step 4, once you pass your certification, you will pass your certification, you'll receive an email address. This gives you a direct link into the Alpine portal where you'll pick up your licenses. And so there has been a bug in this email. They did fix that. It used to have a post here, which was a internal test URL. And we have since fixed that email, but the email hyperlink still has the bug. We're hoping in this release at the end of November, we'll have that fixed. But that has caused a lot of people to end up lost because it takes us into a dev environment, which was kind of public, but not, and then it just would hang you. So understand that the URL, and if you receive the mail saying, congratulations, come get your license, that we are fixing that URL, but if you use it tomorrow, you will still probably see this bug, which is you really want to go to this link here without that post in it. The hyperlink in the mail, that we fixed it in the mail, but someone didn't fix the hyperlink. So if you get this mail in the next week or 2 after you pass your cert, understand that you have to go to the URL listed here, which is without that .post in the URL. So that has been an issue for some people. So make sure that you're aware of that and you will get in. And the first thing we'll do is we'll ask you when you go here to log in, which is great. This is where you have to use your certification email address login, not maybe your regular Broadcom email. I think you're allowed to use your regular Broadcom email to take certifications, and if you didn't create a new one, then you can probably use it and you'll get in. But you have to make sure that all matches with your VMUG email. When you log in, you're good to go. Well, maybe not, because the next thing it does is it takes you to the support URL. It doesn't know that you wanted to go to Alpine. This is just the Broadcom platform that we have. We do have bugs filed against it, but they're like the platform does not keep track of where you logged in from. It automatically takes you back to the support page. And right on the support set page, it tells you to build your own profile. And when you try to build your own profile, it gives you all kind of bad behavior because you're not really wanting to be in the support portal. You need to go back to the Alpine portal. So once you load this page, you must go back to the support portal. That will not be fixed in the end of the month release. So this will always get people where they log in, everything matches, and when they get to this page, they see build your own profile. They start building their own profile. It won't let you build a profile, and it will error out, and you'll be calling support. When support will say, sorry, this is the wrong, you don't have permission to build a profile for Alpine. That's because you have an Alpine login, but you don't have you're not at the right place. So anyway, that's the second thing. Go to the Alpine URL. We are going to try to get this fixed over the next year, but at this point, when you come in, you still have to redirect yourself to the Alpine portal, which is support.broadcom.com/group/ecx/alpine-certificate. So that has been a second hurdle that you have to overcome in order to get your licenses. I think that's the only two major issues that we've had. We are fixing one of them. The URL and the email will be fixed by the end of the month. And then this second issue will not be fixed. You will have to redirect yourself. Once you get to the correct page, which is the Alpine portal page, you will see your licenses, assuming your email aligns with the VMUG Advantage email and that you pass your certification, right? And if you have, this is the VCF certification, and you will see that you will see panels for each of the products you're qualified for, which these are, not really production licenses, but they are licenses that you can request. And you are now a customer who is requesting licenses, an Alpine private individual that is requesting licenses, and you actually have to request the license. And there are buttons down at the bottom here that say request your license, and you can request those licenses, and in the panel it says not requested yet, so you just have to click over the request button and you'll see that you can get your license. So that's where we're at now, which is you've got to the right page, you see your licenses, and you are good to go, right? Request your licenses, but you are ordering your license. You don't have your license yet. You're actually ordering it, and you are acting like a Broadcom individual customer. It will place the order, but the order will be free. You will get email saying, thank you for your product order. And it'll say the price, and the price will be $0. And then it'll say, stay tuned. You will receive more notification when your order has been fulfilled. Depending on what day you do the request your order, if it's a Friday afternoon, guess what? Your order isn't going to be processed till Monday, and then you'll get your licenses on Tuesday. I've had other people that request their licenses on a midweek Wednesday, and by Wednesday afternoon or Thursday morning, their order has been processed and they have received their licenses. So understand it could take 1 to 2 days in order to get your license processes when you request your license. When you have successfully requested your license, you will get your license here. It will give you a green icon up at the top with the date of your license, like when your license will expire. It should expire within the next year. You will see a date for your 1-year license in green. 2 icons will now be enabled at the bottom of the panel. One is to download, the one on the left, the little cloud, is to download, and the second one is to get your VCF 5.x license keys. The one on the right will pop up a little panel with all your license keys in there for 5.x, because 5.x still uses license keys. And then the cloud will take you to the download portal. So the badge of the road, it's a pop-up panel with 5.x license keys. The cloud icon will go to the download portal. However, the download portal does not go to what product you're actually ordered, right? It just takes you into the download portal. It tries to figure out what the last thing is you've ordered, and it tries to magically take you to the right place. But many times it does not take you to the right place. We do not know why. It takes you into the download portal, and then you have to go find your download. You can go directly to the VCF download page here and then select the products you want to download. So that is the URL that you want to go to if you click that download. Most people click the download and navigate their way to the download page. But understand that you're going into the Broadcom download area. There are a lot of things you can download. You are looking for the product that you purchase, which is VCF either 5.x or 9.x. So this is the VCF vSphere download page that you want to go to, and we are giving you that URL to go directly to in case you get lost. And there are many people that do somehow get lost in the download center and can't find this page. So we thought we would list it here so that you could find there. And notice it says VMware Cloud Foundation and VMware vSphere. Those are the two. If you've gotten your VVF admin cert, you would want vSphere 32 core. If you did VCF VCP versus VVF VCP, VCF VCP, VMware Cloud Foundation, VVF VCP, vSphere. Right? So those are the two links. I will look at both of those here. I expanded them, and here they are, VMware Cloud Foundation 9. There is 9.0.1 is the latest. They have 9.0.0, and so we'll drive into one of those. There are legacy versions there that you can scroll down, but you don't have licenses for those, so be aware. But you're in the download center, and pretty much everything that's available to you will be there, right? It gives you you're just in the generic download area, and you should be able to go select things. You want to select either 9.0.1 or 5.0. I can't even see it. 5.2.1. Notice there is a 5.2.1.1 there above that circle. That's blank. So some people come in and they obviously click on the latest, and the latest is blank. So understand that it's 5.2.1 is not blank. So those are the two that you want to. So some people come in and go, my download is blank, and I have to say, click on 5.2.1. I'm not sure why 5.2.1.1, I think that's the number there, is blank, empty, but it is. So understand this 5.2.1 is there if you're looking for 5.x licenses or downloads. So let me click on the 9.0.1 link that was in the previous slide, and you'll see that you'll have everything listed here. To install 9. You need the VMware Cloud Foundation installer, and you'll want to click on the View Group. You click on the View Group, and you will see that you will get the SDDC Manager appliance, which is what you need to install 9. Release. You'll run that. You'll run that OVA in a vSphere environment, right? And so you'll boot up ESX, run that, and then that will come up and give you the installer. So that's what you need to do in order to go through. You can go get VMware ESX here, down here, 4 from the bottom. If you need to run that OVA, you first probably want to go get ESXi and install it, boot it up. then download the OVA, and then run that OVA in ESX9. I think you're supposed to run ESX9 in the install process to then run the SDDC manager. So that's a little bit of a step that you need to do, which is go download ESX, run it, and then run the OVA. And then this is the download for the OVA. Here, you'll download that, and then you can boot up the OVA. So it's called the SDDC Manager Appliance. If you've ever installed 9.0, that's how you do that. If you're doing 5.x, a couple people have gotten tripped up if you've never downloaded stuff in Broadcom downloads. Sometimes, some places, they have this little terms and condition. And in order to get the little cloud icon to work properly over on the right-hand side, you actually have to click on the I agree. But many people discover that they can't click on the I agree, and they file a bug, and I get called in on it. And I say, you have to click on the terms and conditions. The checkbox will not highlight unless the little JavaScript looks and sees that you've already clicked on the terms and conditions. And that's a function of Broadcom. They actually want you to read the document. And so I agree to terms and conditions. And some of the downloads actually have terms and conditions and another one, two different clickable things you have to click on. You just have to click on them, and then the JavaScript recognizes that you've read them, and it enables that checkbox. When that checkbox is enabled, the download clouds are enabled. So this is a case where you've been through, you've clicked on the cloud. So you've clicked on terms and conditions, you've checkboxed, and now the cloud icon lights up, and you are able to download the cloud builder. And so several people have been stuck here, right? So there's actually been 3 places that people have been stuck on. Their VMUG certification email address alignment, the page you have to get to, which is the Alpine page. And then when they finally get here, they've struggled with the checkbox scenario. So this is the next thing that people get stuck on. Now you know how to do that. And once you get the download, you're pretty much going. So step 6, VCF 9.x, generate the download token. So when you download that SDDC manager, you don't actually have to go through and download all the bits. You can download the ESXi to boot up your ESX environment, then run the SDDC Manager OVA. And when you do that, you go into the installer process, and it asks you for your tokens, right? And the token is basically a secure connection that gets you back to Broadcom to be able to download your licensed bits, right? And your license is embedded in the bits. You don't see license keys anymore. You get your deployment bits that are enabled for your environment. So you'll get your deployment bits that will have 128 core 1-year license enabled in those bits. And so understand that you need to generate those tokens. And on this website, down here, you have the 5.x license keys, you have a link to the download center, and now we also will create a button called Generate Your Token, and that will be coming in the release at the end of this month for 9.x support. And you will be able to generate your tokens, which will give you a token for the product that you can use in the SDDC Manager install process, and it will automatically download your software, and you should be good to go. So just to take a look at that, here is the generate download token page that you get when you come in and you click generate token. It'll generate it, take you to a page, and it will give you that token. I have blacked out that token. Tokens are enabled. Once you get a token, you can use that token. Your company will get a report on how many people have used that token, but that token is active. So keep that token secure. Do not share your token with other people. Those those tokens, we will get reports on how many tokens are used in the Alpine environment. And Alpine has been granted, a number of tokens per core that they're allowed to allocate out per year. And so if you abuse that and share that token with other people or other instances, other lab environments, we will see those counts accelerate, and we will get audited, and we will discover that tokens are being used, and we can then track that token usage back to any given Alpine account, in case your account, and then we will be able to know that you are using that token in a lot of places, and that would be a problem. And so be aware that keep your token secure. It expires at the end of the year, right? You have to come in every year to generate a new token. But I would say keep your token secure, use your token to set up your lab. It is your token and it is pinned to you. We can see the usage of that token. Now, that doesn't stop you from reinstalling, obviously, in your environment. And because you are pulling bits down to an IP address, we probably get that information as well. You can think about the idea that there are ways to audit that stuff. So generate your token, and then you can use that token to support your home lab. And in this case, it gives you a created date, an updated date, etc. These dates are obviously for test users that we have been testing the platform on. But yeah, so that's what you get there for VCF tokens, which we're really excited about. I can't promise you what date this is going to go live. It's currently scheduled for the end of this month. If testing goes well next week, we will get the all clear, and then we will go live at the end of the month. So we're in the process of finalizing our testing, and on schedule. I'd say the project is green, and we expect to go, but as any good deployment project, we know there are things that can come up. But our target was to be done in November or by the end of the year at the latest, and I think we're on target. We had hoped maybe the beginning of November. I think we took a couple week slip on the project, just testing and verifying and doing some bug fixes, and so. But we are pretty confident that we'll hit our target by the end of this month. Second and third year renewal certifications. So some of you already went and got your VCF 5.x license and were happily deployed. Come March, you passed your certification, and the dates of your certification are actually the date of your test pass, right? So if you pass your test, you get that email, you're allowed to go get your certification when you pass your test. That sets the date. The date range is such that a year from now, if you're a VMUG Advantage user, you can come in and you can request a new short renewal test, and we will provide a access code to do your renewal test. It is one access code, so it will probably get spread around pretty quickly. And VMUG will publish that access code at the end of the month when we go live. And then in the education portal, you can come back into the education portal in Pearson, which is your education login that I showed earlier. And when you come into that now, you can schedule an exam, you can look at the exam catalog, you can view exams, but we have now added do you have a private access code? And that private access code will get you visibility to your renewal exam. And we call it a refresher exam. And so if you have a private access code, which I blacked out the access code, but it's just one code, something VMUG-Advantage-refresher, something pretty simple. And we'll release that at the end of the month. You will then see the refresher exam, right? And you'll see Rev 2125, refresher 1 versus refresher 2. Refresher 1, you take that, you've been refreshed. You're allowed to take the refresher exam 60 days before your license expires and 60 days post your license expired. So we're giving you 4 months window to come in and take your refresher exam when your license is getting close to expiring. So definitely come in and take your refresher exam. The refresher exam is essentially 20 questions. It's very simple. It's not hard. It's just maybe a little information about VCF. Do you remember what the components are? NSX, vSAN, management, etc. So not meant to be a hard exam. It's just a refresher to remind us that you're paying attention to VCF. And then in the second year, same thing. We basically wanted to make sure that everyone was available, that they're paying attention, that you just didn't have a license that were good for 3 years and you've shared it with a bunch of people and you've moved on in your career and you don't know. So this is a way to have licenses expire after 1 year and give you something to do to come in and get your second key. And so that's the token, and that's what we've got here. And pretty simple, straightforward to come in. You use the certification portal to do the cert and put in that. Once you have passed your refresher exam, you will receive a mail going, congratulations, you've passed your refresher exam, much the way you got the email saying that you passed your VCP certification. So you come in, you will now see a second line of tokens. This is not exactly a great screenshot because it doesn't show that we've already requested these licenses and they've expired. But what you would see is you would see all your first year licenses still there, and they would have the dates on them because let's say you came in 60 days before or 59 days before your license expired, you would still see your licenses in the portal, but you will now see your second year licenses and they will not be requested. You will have to come in and request your licenses again. You will then order your second year license. You will then receive generate a certificate on your second year license and you will be good to go. So this is what you would expect to see on your second year, and your third year you would see first years, they would say expired up in the top right corner. The second years would be expired, and you will see your third year panels show up to request your licenses for these products. So that way you can go back and see what you've already earned and requested, and then the third year will enable that. And then we will also support, then your VCP is only good for 3 years. So we expect you, if you want to continue on, you would take your VCP certification again, the full test, and you would start the process over again. So that's kind of how this progresses throughout the 3-year cycle. And that's basically it. You go through, download, and you're good to go. So what I've shown you is VCF 9, where the downloads are, how to get your tokens for that. You use the SDDC manager. This is the exact same process that you'll use in your production environment if you're ordering VCF licenses. You do the same exact thing. You're at a different portal, but the process is the same. You get a license token, you use the SDDC manager to install, and you are good to go. So now that I've presented, and I think I have a little extra time here, I believe that we went from 10 to 10:45. I will look to see if there are any questions that I can answer while I'm here. Eric, there's one outstanding question from Hank Riz. VMware Cloud Foundation Administration is my current VMG Advantage Program certification. Will VCF 9 be, let me see, which one is it? Foundation VCF Administration 1125. Yeah, I think so. Yep, that should be fine. I can stay, right? We have a 15-minute break if we have any other questions. Sure. Yes, we do. So Abid asks, hi all, will the VCP-VCF9 refresher will be available for those who pass the VCP-VCF 5? Yes. We do not differentiate between VCF 5.x exams and VCF 9.x exams. You can get 9 by taking your VCF. We just want you to get VCP. 5, 9. Of course, you should take your VCF 9 at some point, but you've already, we had that conversation last year and we decided, in all fairness, you take your VCP, you passed it, it's good for 3 years. Sure, would we like you to take your 9 VCP? Yeah, because there's a lot of stuff in 9. We don't make you take a VCP because we want to grind you. We do make you take a VCP because it's good education. And as I know, I took my VCP and I had to spend last December studying, and I wouldn't study. I'm too busy. I'm too old. But honestly, it was great to do it. I learned a ton. I had never used NSX. So we want you to take your VCP not because we want you to learn the stuff. And we know everybody needs a little push to some people are self-motivated and they stay up on their exams, but most of us are kind of like, oh, yeah, I should really do that. I'd love to take time to do that, but then I just always have a lot of other things. So, yeah, that's why if you took your VCF 5, we give you 9, no problem whatsoever. And you can refresh at the end of every year. If you happen to take the VCP 9 version, which has just come out, great. Yep. Any other questions? Please, somebody blog about this. I've got a blog out on the code website that covers this stuff, but as usual, people don't read blogs all the time, or if I put it in the blog, they don't read, and there are a couple gotchas, as we've seen. So the more I get this word out, we will record this session, we will publish this session, and then I will put this session on the code blog. VMUG will also publish this session out, and hopefully we're recording this, so hopefully we can make this a much easier process for people because there are a couple gotchas and we are trying to get those gotchas fixed as fast as we can. And we are very thankful for Broadcom for helping us make all this possible. No, yeah. Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome, guys. Yeah. Yep. Thank you for supporting VMUG. Thank you for taking the test and buying Advantage. And I got follow William Lamb. I've been working with him. We got the mini forums running VCF on the mini forums, and let me tell you, man, VCF 9 is so cool, right? Like I remember I did SCO Unix back in the days, and it was the first time I ever got a root password on a full machine because I was at university. I never got to be a root admin. And it was like, wow, I have my own root admin. When I got VCF 9 running on my mini form and I got the ARIA console, well, the VCF admin console, ops console, and I got automation console up and I got all of that, it's like a kid in a candy store. It is so fun to have access and feel like I can use stuff without breaking things. So it's good. I got 128 gig of memory in the mini form, and then we tiered it. We put a 500 gig SSD in it, and we were able to tier for another 128 gig. We did have to do a 3-node cluster in order to get automation. Automation requires 256 gig of memory on its own. So we actually had to have a second node in order to run automation in that 256 tiered memory. We're hoping that by the end of next year, a couple things will change in tiered that we can fit it all on a 256 gig or 512 gig tiered mini form. Yep, yep. Can you use tiering with nested virtualization? It was a good question. The answer is no. No, I don't think it can. I remember asking William that, and William went, "I know, we barely able to get tiered to work on an individual node on a small node like this, the $800 machine, and so you try to nest everything on VCF 9, forget it. Like, good luck trying to get that to nest because 9 itself takes 256 gig memory without automation console, ops console, and NSX, vSAN, ESX, all operating with shared storage and redundant storage. So no, you're not going to be able to nest VCF 9. You might be able to nest an ESX, one instance of an ESX, something like that. But no, yeah. Yeah, 9.0 crashing. That's what we discovered. In fact, we saw crashes when we were trying on these little guys to tiered more than the physical memory. So let's say you have 128 gig of physical and you wanted to tier 256 of SSD storage to tiered, we had issues there. We were only able to tier to the amount of physical memory. So if I have 128 gig of physical memory, I could tier another 128 gig. But if I try to tier 256 or 384, we weren't able to make that work. We had crashes. We have bugs filed. The engineering team goes, "What are you guys trying to do? Run on such tiny little guys, servers?" And we're like, because we like to. It's fun, and we want to have some. I love having the mini format on my desk. It's quiet, doesn't make any noise, and I got all of the VCF right there. So I like the little machine. Other people I've talked to said, "Nah, I just put it on a tower. I've got a ton of memory. I put a terabyte of memory in a tower, and I just run it on one of my machines, and I don't really care." If you're going to use a mini form, it's probably because you want to have it quiet at home. You don't want to pay the power bill. You don't want to pay an AC bill. You just want to keep it quiet and cool. And I want to have all the software so I can play with it. So understand that. Yeah. Yeah, I used 128 gig of memory on each of the hosts in the cluster, and then we tiered each one. So yeah, I used basically 256 total memory. When you tier it, when you boot up ESX, it comes up and says 256 on each of the nodes in the cluster. Technically, we only needed two. We didn't need to have a third. We just needed one for automation and one for everything else, because automation right now takes 256. Working with the engineering team, they're going to trim that up in future releases, so it won't require that much memory. We're also working with them to fix the tiered bugs, so they are not bugs, but just make tiered work better on tiny machines. And remember, SSDs aren't even on the hardware certification list. You need William Lamb's sneaky plugin in order to disable the checks that check to make sure your SSD is proper vSAN storage. So none of this is on the approved hardware list, but we are working with engineering to kind of fix it because we want a little machine that we can run on our desktop. So yeah, on single host, dual 6152 procs with 768 gigabytes. Yeah, I think if you do have enough physical memory, that's not tiered. So yeah, you're running it. That makes sense, because where we run into problems is when you don't have your memory constrained and you're expanding the memory using tiered. And then he asked, can he run nested in a tiered environment with only 120 gig of memory? And the answer is no. But yeah, you got 768 gigabyte on a tower. That's why I say, like, a lot of guys come up to me and just go, "Why don't you just put it on a tower, put a terabyte of memory in it, and everything's happy?" And the answer is, yep, you're right. If you The only time we get into these conversations is when you're running this little tiny guy that's running at 80 watts, which I like because power is expensive in California. All right, well, we're coming up to the top of the hour here, and so I'm just watching chat, just talking, for people that have questions. You'll run CPU compatibly when you try to deploy your NSX Edge nodes also. Oh, interesting. Yeah. The other bug reported that I got was people are trying to run vSphere 8. They get the VCF 5.x license keys. It works for ESX. It works for vCenter, but when they got to vSAN, they had an 8 vSAN install. Then they got VCF 5.x license keys, and it wouldn't work with their instance of vSAN. So if you're doing a greenfield with 5.x, everything works great. If you've already got 8 installed vSphere standard with vSAN running, and you try to use the VCF 5.x license keys, I've seen issues with vSAN versions with keys. So that's another one I've heard, and I haven't been able to track down why, but I have heard that. All right, we're wrapping up. Thanks a lot. We're going to let you go. Thanks a lot for hanging out and chatting with us, and enjoy the rest of your day conference with VMUG. Loving it.